Hey everyone, Internet PC's book reader here. Today I want to talk about the Premonition by Yoshimoto. The book starts with the main character reminiscing about the time spent on her aunt's house, and already the writing quality of Yoshimoto and the translation done by Asayoneta shines through. Listen to this. I grieve for the clarity of that time I had with my aunt, how lucky I was to share that space with her during a sliver of time that has appeared only by sheer chance. It was over now, but it had to be. In coming to an end, it had given me something, and only by making my way through was I able to begin to live the rest of my life. Yukino was someone who is unabashedly herself. She's a 30 years old single woman in the 80s where people still used the word spinster unironically. She's someone that are not that emotive and in general is a bit of an airhead that stands out as being alone even in a crowd. But Yayoi is one of the only person that can read her emotion in the story. She's also someone who sees her own in high regards. What made her beautiful to me was more like a specific mood whose tendrils pervaded everything. From the way she moved to the way she passed her days to the fleeting expression that passed across her face when something happened. The feeling was so stubbornly consistent that it seemed unshakable, like something that would continue, untouched, all the way until the end of the world. So Yukino the Owl kinda reminds me of Akiko Minase from Canon or the cat from the Game Strays or any cat really. Someone who had their own pace, their own very slow pace and still kinda make it work despite how nonchalant they can appear. We also get to know more about Yayoi herself, someone from a happy family that had a tendency to run away from home for a while when she feels like it. Which kinda feels a lot more dangerous than it sounds. She just usually left to go stay at a relative house for a while. We also get to see the family dynamic at their home, a few scenes and a few added details of their history so we know how they interact. But one day, Yayoi got a nagging feeling that she cannot get rid of, and it's been bugging her for a while that even her family noticed it. I think the book described the feeling really well. A sudden rustling in your chest, a premonition of understanding. You feel you might be on the verge of uncovering something. You're a little fearful, oddly excited, and somehow forlorn. Like there's something coming around the next corner that's going to turn everything you know about yourself on its head. And regarding this premonition, at first the story seems like it wants to go into a more supernatural direction, with even mention of ghosts and Esper. Yayoi's mom saying that Yayoi always seems to have some kind of ability to know things before it happens. But thankfully it seems like it's just a standard family superstition that happens because people make a big deal out of a combination of intuition and coincidence. So when that explanation didn't satisfy Yayoi's curiosity, and that feeling of having lost something important still bothers her, she once again ran away from home to stay at her aunt's home. The premonition itself is about a repressed memory they are resurfacing, which for a moment fills me with dread that it might be something that's done to Yayoi when she was a child or something. But it's not that kind of event thankfully. No trigger warning for those here if you know what I mean. I want to avoid outright spoiling it, because I think the reveal of this premonition is the best part of the story. It is very well written, there are hints every now and then from what you remember, and when the revelation happens, you'll either go, I knew it, or yeah, that makes sense. I love how the story established Yayoi and Yukino and both of their relationship with some scenes before they even move to each other's house, so it doesn't rely too heavily on exposition with the author telling us about them without showing us any evidence of their relationship, which happens in a lot of the book I read this year. In fact, most of the major characters in this short book have their moments to establish the chemistry between the characters. So we're not only told that they're a happy family, but we are also shown how much of a happy family they are, since we see glimpses of their interaction through a few short scenes here and there. Not too long to overstay their welcome, but just enough to establish their connection. And because of that, the subtle emotion that you can only see a brief moment can shine when the characters have them. Here's an example of Yayoi's fear of losing her family. At his words, I was suddenly seized by a heartbreaking fantasy. What if I never even had an aunt? Everyone else had died in the accident, and I was the only one who'd ever set foot in this house, while the rest of my family watched over me from somewhere else. The night I turned up with an overstuffed duffel, it had been my sister's ghost that had taken pity on me. It had been my sister's ghost who had taken pity on me and welcomed me in. All my family were friendly ghosts. There are a lot of good moments in the book, especially the first half. Unfortunately, the second half kinda took a turn when Yukino the aunt ran away from home because she was involved with her student romantically. It is not fully presented as a good thing, mind you. If you see Yayo's first impression, she's kinda horrified, which for a story written in the 80s and set in the 80s, it's quite ahead of its time. But writing wise, it also get kinda worse because things are just revealed randomly and continue to reveal randomly as if the author doesn't like that basically almost nothing happened at the first half of the story. There are so much revealed that it make it feels kinda random and rushed, and even the characters are aware that what is happening is too abrupt. Theoretically, or at least in paper, in concept, this is also the moment where Yayoi's perspective of her own kinda changed and she recognized more of her weakness as weaknesses. I don't think some of these scenes are handled with enough gravity in the story, with some domestic girlfriend thing going on in the story between Yayoi and her brother. The second half can feel like a different story, if not because of the things established in the first half. I still like a lot of themes tackled in the story. It's a theme that even here, near the end of the year, I only see occasionally. It's about losing something. Losing them for so long that you forget that you have lost something, and that loss grows stronger as childhood trauma tends to. A hole that grew bigger inside of you, then to actually find the thing you lost, or at least part of it, and retracing those memories to be able to mend the hole inside of you. It's also a theme of knowing people better, including seeing all their weaknesses as a human being and choosing whether you think you can accept those weaknesses or not. There's a really good section in the book when Yayoi is kinda stopped putting her ounce on a pedestal and see her less as a figure and more as a person. Rather than their age gap or her ethics as a teacher, her horror of his wholesomeness would have held her back, almost like they were two people from completely different planets. She was fearful of having to change her narrow, untidy life. I thought I know exactly how she must have felt. It seemed far too likely that their relationship was a youthful whim for Masahiko, and that once the whirlwind of falling in love has passed, he would go back to his normal life. Any way you look at it, she was unlikely to make a serious partner for anyone. Feeling like my own weakness as a person had become visible to me for the first time, I felt a little sorrowful. She had a habit of looking away from things she feared, or found distasteful, or thought might hurt her. Overall, I quite enjoyed this very short story. It's really well written, which I hope you can tell from the quotes I used throughout the video. It's also not a heavy story despite some of these themes that includes loss and childhood trauma. While I do think that some of them needs more weight to some of its themes, especially the one with the teacher-student thing, so it won't fit too well in the dumpster fire together with domestic girlfriend. But to be fair, the setting of the story was in the late 80s, and the book itself is actually quite old. It was first published in 1998, and a lot of weirder story that involves romantic feeling with power imbalance has come out and has handled it much worse. I'm looking at you, CW. I give this a 3.75. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.